Welcome to part 2 of our travel vlog, our trip to the East Coast. In between Gettysburg and Philadelphia, where we are heading to for this trip, we ended up going to a place in between that is one of Jessica's favorite places to go to.
Yes, so I happened to notice that on our route in a place called, I believe you say Exton, Pennsylvania, not really sure, at a mall there was a thing called Round One, which is one of my very favorite arcades to go to. They have a bunch of Japanese arcade games like these UFO catchers that you can see Brian playing and winning at here. He is extremely good at winning. They have all sorts of different setups. It's sort of like a really advanced version of a claw machine. This one that you're seeing here, you have to hook the little thing below and then you win the prize that is in the case. So he actually won a bunch of stuff for me doing the hook was his best one on this.
Yeah, they had a bunch of these types where you got to hook something and then pick it up. And I don't know, I just kept nailing it every single time. But the reason why I like these is because unlike the normal standard, 3-pin claw machines, the UFO catchers are entirely skill-based. And so you can actually win these if you're good enough.
Pete was a little bit jealous. But if you're wondering, from our very first video, you probably saw that I have a ton of plush. And this is one of the reasons why I just love arcades.
After that, there was actually a Whole Foods right next to the mall. And so we ended up going there to get ourselves a lovely giant salad for dinner because we hadn't really had a giant salad in a while.
Yeah.
And we felt like, you know what? We need one of these.
I actually discovered their hummus doesn't have any oil on the salad bar. The salad bar is different at every Whole Foods, so check your Whole Foods. But this is the thing that I love the most. It is called garlicky kale, and I just love it. And we showed up and it was all like gone, and the guy actually made it for us, which was super amazing.
Kudos to that Whole Foods employee who went into the back and made us some garlicky kale.
Yes, so then we enjoyed our salads, and it was really nice just to have a giant salad like we're used to having for dinner, and everything was super tasty, and they have all sorts of options.
And a bunch of toppings too, not just like salad dressings and stuff like that. I mean, they've just got nutritional yeast just there in a shaker, and so of course I had to put that onto my salad to make it a little bit cheesy.
Yeah, Brian loves his nutritional yeast. But yeah, it's a great option while you're traveling just to stop in to a Whole Foods and grab a salad.
The next morning, we of course went down to our hotel breakfast, and I got myself a lovely bowl of oatmeal with some dried cranberries, some blueberries, and some blackberries. All in all, it was actually really good. It was a little bit sweet, it was a little bit tart, it just worked really well, and it kept me going for a good while throughout the day. But we couldn't lollygag around all day at the hotel. We had to get on the road and get to Philadelphia.
This is Jessica Cam. Welcome to Jessica Cam. This is my crappy iPhone camera. And I'm going to give us a tour of Philadelphia. Not really, because we're probably going to use Brian's camera. Yeah, I'm like sick of taking Brian's camera all the time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use my camera and do a couple clips on my camera because it's just as good. Not really, but kind of. Right now we're driving. I think we were supposed to turn left there, but I'm not 100% sure. So I better get back to the actual navigation portion of my job. Breaking news. I've been told that it's supposed to be Jessie Cam, not Jessica Cam. Because it's Jessicam. Jessicam. Boom.
Once Jessica got back to her navigating duties, she got us to see the Liberty Bell, which is one of the most iconic symbols in American history.
Hey look, it's another iconic symbol, Peef.
We of course had to go see Independence Hall, which is essentially the birthplace of our nation. It is where so many founding fathers were located, where the Constitution was signed, where the Declaration of Independence was signed. It is just this incredible building to behold because you look around and you just sort of feel the history that is there. Like that chair right there is the chair that George Washington sat in when the Bill of Rights was being signed. That's an incredible thing to think about.
It is pretty cool. They offer free tours of all these areas, and our tour guide was really enthusiastic and super knowledgeable, so that was really fun.
But not only can you just tour Independence Hall, you can also tour the Congress area next door, which was also really cool because you get to go in there and you can sit down in these chairs while the tour guide talks. It's just an incredible sort of experience to be sitting there where all of this history happened.
I've always been fascinated with this building whenever I've been to Philadelphia in the past. I believe it is the City Hall building. It's just a really nice building to look at. We didn't go inside or anything like that, but we just walked around and marveled at its beauty.
It's also kind of the center point for the entire city. A lot of roads lead up to it, and so it's really, really cool, and you get these great sight lines as you're walking out. Honestly, it was one of the coolest architectures that I've seen in a building.
Alrighty, so here we are sitting on a bench outside of the Independence Visitor Center in Philadelphia.
Yeah. We've walked a lot today.
Yeah.
I'm quite tired.
Yeah.
But we continued to walk. We actually ended up going and seeing the Mint as well, but we couldn't film in there. And once we got out of there, we just sort of walked around the city and walked down to the waterfront where we had ourselves a lovely evening. The weather was just perfect.
It is an absolutely gorgeous day here in Philadelphia. We are just leaving our hotel, this lovely hotel that we've been staying at, and now we are going to, well, we're still going to be in Philadelphia today, and then tonight we're driving to Atlantic City. So let's see what we can get up to in Philly today.
Going my way?
So Jessica was always talking about this one particular place that she always loves to go to when she comes to Philadelphia, and I was super excited because apparently this is one of the most happening spots that you can go to, is the Reading Terminal Market.
Yes, I love coming here with my mom usually, and there are just so many options, just like the North Market in Columbus, but this is like on a massive scale, and there's just so much you can find in there. One of the places that I have liked in the past is the Luhv Vegan Deli, and they just have a ton of options. They actually make their own meats and cheeses that are all vegan, which is kind of fascinating.
We decided to go for the lunch special, which was a mini sandwich and a cup of soup. So I, being the person that I am, decided to go for the Reuben because a Reuben is hard to put together. It is a complex sandwich, and they did it fantastically. This sandwich was just packed full of flavor and just like different textures, and it was creamy and it was just awesome. But this soup was the real standout. It is the energy soup that they serve, which is full of sweet potato, chickpeas, lentils, 3 types of seaweed, kale, quinoa, carrots, celery, onions, and peppers. It was amazing. It was a little bit sweet, it was savory, it had just all of this stuff in it. I mean, honestly, this was one of the best and most power-packed soups that I've ever had in my life.
I really, really love the soup. Now, for me, the Reuben was okay. Like, I've never been into like Reubens anyway, so I'm kind of like, I could take it or leave it. But that soup, man, it was really good.
Yeah, so I'm going to be trying to figure out how to make my own version of this in the future. I know that for a fact. Another great option is Tootsie's Hot and Cold Buffet. They have a ton of salad options, so you can build yourself a nice big salad, kind of like we did at Whole Foods. But they've also got a bunch of hot stuff as well that you can get. They've got some like roasted vegetables and that kind of stuff. But we actually did not end up getting a salad from here, but it is always a good option if you want to go for a salad. But for our final stop, we ended up going to Nani's Kitchen and getting some Indian food. They have clearly indicated vegan options and a few non-vegan options. We didn't get to try everything. We could have sampled stuff, but there was a line behind us. But we decided to go for the chickpeas or the chana masala, and it was just superb. The rice was perfectly cooked. The chickpeas were just in this amazing sauce. It wasn't super spicy, but it had a little bit of a kick to it. It was just phenomenal. I mean, it was one of the best chana masalas that I've ever had.
But we couldn't sit around eating at the market all day because we had more of the city to explore.
But before we ended up going to our second to last stop for Philadelphia, we of course had to go swing by the iconic Rocky statue.
Peeve.
And go up the iconic stairs that Rocky ran up in the movie.
All right, so we are getting ready to go into the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I think that's what it's called. Yes, so we're pretty excited to go in there. Here's what it looks like. Wait, can you see? Pretty big. Where's Brian? There he is. Hold on. Say hi.
Hi.
So I discovered that if you actually go to the art museum on, what day of the week was this? Wednesday?
I think it was a Wednesday,
I think it was Wednesday. After, I think it's 5 p.m., you can pay what you wish to enter. So it's sort of like a donation of whatever amount you want to enter, which is really cool because normally I think it's like $20 per person. And we like looking at art, but we're not like art connoisseurs. So it was, something I wanted to see, but it wasn't something I had to see. So it was nice to be able to pay whatever we wanted to enter. And they actually ended up having a lot of really cool stuff.
The thing that I really loved about it is that, like, you can see here, each room is completely different. Each room is set up in some different way of, like, sometimes it looks like an outdoor village, sometimes it looks like an indoor courtyard or a fancy room of some kind. But it was just phenomenal seeing it. Of course, some of the doorways might have been a little short, but welcome to my world. But the thing that I truly loved about this entire thing is, of course, the weapons. They have an entire section dedicated to medieval arms and armor, and I really, really like this stuff because, swords are just, so cool to look at. They also had a few firearms from back in the day, and just so cool to see the intricacies and the workmanship that went into all of these things. I love it, I love it, I love it. This is one of my all-time favorite things as far as history is concerned. They also have a bunch of artwork all over the place, but a ton of it is copyrighted, and so we couldn't actually show it on film, and we didn't really want to take the chance and show something that might be copyrighted and get into some legal trouble. But there is a ton of it all over the place, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, they had a lot of Monet, which was really cool to see, and a bunch of other really famous painters that you learn about in art class.
We couldn't hang around at the museum all day. In fact, we were a bit pressed for time because it wouldn't be a Croc vacation without at least seeing one concert. So we ended up going off because it just so happened to be that one of our all-time favorite bands, The Rocket Summer, was playing in Philadelphia that night. I say band, but it's actually one guy. He tours with some musicians. He comes up with some of the best power pop that I have ever heard in my entire life, and this was one of the best shows that I think that he has ever put on. But this was our last stop in Philadelphia, so we will see you next time for part number 3 of the Croc's Adventure to the Coast.